Hello everyone, welcome to It's Your Money. I'm Joanne Morgano and I'm joined by my co-host Martin Salzman. We are both financial advisors and have over 51 years of experience working with our clients in financial planning and overall wealth management. So today we have a special show for you, just like all of our shows are special. But before I introduce our guests, Martin and I, we're going to speak about the market.
Yeah, that's a cliffhanger. We always have a special guest, but we're not going to tell our viewers who and what.
We've been hanging on the cliff with inflation,
haven't
we?
Boy, we sure have. Let's get right into that. Joanne's right. And that's really one of the biggest stories today is inflation. And we are seeing it at all levels. We're seeing it in the supermarket. We're seeing it at the fuel pump. We're seeing it everywhere. And it's also being exacerbated by the supply chains.
Absolutely. The average family is spending about $185 more on groceries a month.
Wow. Hey, that's $185. That's a lot, you know. And plus with the supply chain issues, a lot of people are being urged to go out and buy things now because who knows if they're going to be on the shelves, you know. And how many cargo ships are there outside of LA right now?
They're hanging, they're waiting.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta really ask yourself, why is that? You know, I've tried to ask people in the industry, you know, friends of mine that I talk to, and you listen to the news reports, and I think a lot of it comes down to people not wanting to work. Why aren't there enough truckers? Why aren't there enough people at these ports that can unload all that cargo and get it out to the country? It really has to make you wonder. So, you know, the supply chain issue, the tanker issue, inflation, these are some really big things, and we've been talking about it for some time.
We have.
You know, as a matter of fact, our viewers can probably remember that Joanne and I were discussing commodity inflation before it even was being talked about in the mainstream. We were talking about things like grains and wheat and cotton and coffee, cocoa, all the futures. They were all moving higher, and nobody was talking inflation, but you and I on this show, we were bringing it up on a daily basis. So,
and we still are.
Quite amazing,
it's really becoming a factor for people.
A major factor,
and inflation, it's sneaky and it cripples your earnings on your investments, and it's just, you got to watch it.
You know, it's like having a separate tax, if you will, on your disposable income. All of a sudden, your dollars can't buy as much.
Martin, what's the current rate at? 5.2?
Around there, I believe so. You know,
that's a lot. And if you're a conservative investor and you're getting 3 to 4% on your investments,
3 to 4%, if you're lucky. What about people that are on a fixed income? I mean, they're in a bank getting zero. You know, so I mean, people are on a fixed income. You know. Anyway, I also want to talk about this past week. We had a figure that came out about unemployment, and you know, the administration was very quick to want to say, well, you know, the unemployment rate's down to 4.8%. The participation rate is at 61.6%. You know, that's a bit alarming. Is it because people got all that stimulus money and now they're not going back into the marketplace, back to the workforce? And 4.8%, I think that number came down a lot because we had so many people come off the unemployment rolls. So, you know, that might explain why that number's low, but we do need to get people back to work. And as it pertains to the markets, we see today where the markets are mixed. We have gold actually up $35 an ounce, and we have the US dollar index itself. The index is down 34 cents. So there is a correlation at times between a strong or weak dollar and the price of gold and silver. Silver was up 22 cents this morning. But markets in general, I think, are still in a very tepid place. We did have the debt ceiling issue, which has now been pushed off to December 3rd. We're going to have to deal with that again. They keep kicking the can down the road, you know.
Right, but let's talk a little bit about oil with the winter coming up.
Perfect, yeah. Okay. Oil's your big thing, you know. And oil hit $80. It actually hit $81 a barrel.
So it's going to, if it's a cold winter, we're going to be paying a lot more.
And that's natural gas. So nat gas is now at 7-year highs, right? And we have oil ramping up the way it is. So it's no wonder when you go to fill your car, it's costing you a lot more than it used to. Only about 10 months ago.
And everybody's back out on the road. Have you noticed that, Martin? I can't zip to the places I usually do and cut off my time.
We're certainly out, and I think the COVID numbers are decreasing a little bit.
People are returning to the offices. But I've also read, too, that people, when they get because of the Delta variant, they've been shifted back to coming back to the office till January.
I think
January,
so.
February.
Most major corporations, they're putting their workers off till January.
But it seems like the schools have moved on smoothly, with the hybrids.
Mixed there, some of them are closed because they've had a lot of cases.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And
but, then the whole mask issue comes into play.
Yeah.
But rather than getting into all that mask stuff, we've got a great guest today.
I like this segue.
And a personal friend. So,
like
that's a big thing. Go ahead.
Martin and we always talk to you about financial planning or asset allocations, some financial fundamentals, and just things you need to know because it's your money, and this is a money show. But what makes today unique is that we're going to speak with a professional, and lots of times we like to delve into occupations. And so our guest today is Dr. Chianese. He's a dentist, and we all need dentists, although I'm very fearful of them. Chet is a member of the Academy of General Dentistry and American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. He's also a staff member of Community Medical Center in Toms River. He's been named 12 times on New Jersey's top dentists in the state by New Jersey Monthly Magazine. So I might be getting a little nervous because I'm next to you, but you don't have any tools. You don't have any. I don't like those sounds, but
no drills today. No drills.
So welcome, Chet.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Martin, for having me.
Our audience loves to always know something personal. So why did you get into this field? We can kind of start with that.
I always wanted to be a dentist.
My God bless his soul. God bless his soul.
That's good.
My dad was an oral surgeon. I grew up in Philadelphia for a short while, then to Trenton, and he had a home office in Trenton. I always heard the sounds and the smells of a dental office because it was part of the house.
Yes.
We moved to Toms River, I think it was in the early 60s when Community Medical Center first opened. It was a small hospital then, and he worked out of the hospital. So we moved there first. Again, had a home office, and I had those smells and those sounds and saw patients coming to the house for treatment.
So
that's what I always wanted to do.
Did you work in the office too with your father?
I did not.
To kind of
I did
learn
not.
some of the ins and outs?
I used to sneak around and peek behind him when he was working. I
That's
could
what I
hear
would
the
be
sounds.
doing.
Yes, but when I was 7 when we first moved to Toms River, so I was a little young to be in there. So
Well,
then my daughter, actually, it followed the generations, saw the same kind of thing in me, and when she was in high school, came and worked in my office as a helper, as an assistant through her high school years, saw the sounds, saw the smells, liked it, and then and pursued a career in dentistry also.
and you said before the show it's a special niche that she's in.
It is. She is the clinical director at Temple Hospital in the pediatric dental residency program.
Well, you must
She's
be
a very big deal.
You must be very proud of her.
Very
I am.
nice.
And good girl power.
I am.
Very,
Power.
very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chet, in this show, we like to always talk financial planning and that, but, we do like to talk about various pursuits that our viewers have and are interested in. And so the one thing I'd like to just start out with, if you could, is just talk to us a little bit about the kind of educational demands or requirements that are needed to become a dentist, if you could.
Sure, of course. So, of course, you need to have a 4-year college degree. It does not have to be a degree in the sciences, as many people probably thought or think, but you do need to use those electives in the fields of science, usually in general biology, general chemistry, physics, organic chemistry, and the laboratories that go with it. So you need to do those. You need to take a dental aptitude test. That's the DAT.
Okay.
You'll need letters of recommendation. You'll need interviews, and you'll apply to school.
So roughly how many years does somebody have to go through to actually go and set up a practice? Well, you can set up a practice.
From when you would start your undergraduate career, assuming you did it in 4 years, and then you had your graduate study of 4 more years, it's 8 years.
Oh, 8 years.
You can go right to work after 8 years. I actually had a year in the middle, from undergraduate to my dental study. Did 1 year of graduate school. So I had 9 years.
Okay.
And then you can go to work.
Wow. But 8 years. That's also
Sure,
going to be a lot of bills.
All that too.
Schooling and all that.
Yeah.
What do you think it must have cost back in your days of doing it versus today? It must be quite higher going.
I remember tuition quite different. My last year of dental school, which is at Georgetown in Washington, D.C., I think tuition was like $8,500.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
And what is it now at Georgetown?
Actually, in 1990, they closed the dental school at Georgetown. So that's no longer there. But if I
Did you have any reason, were you part of the reason they
why
closed?
they closed? Gosh, I hope not.
I kid you. I'm just kidding.
You know, if I go by my daughter's training, and she went to UMDNJ in Newark, and she graduated from dental school probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. The tuition then was in the 40s.
Oh, my Lord.
And I know the tuition at UP, where she also got accepted to, it was $74,000 that long ago.
Okay.
So you could finish school, dental school, and be in, you know, $500,000 worth of debt.
Wow. 500,000.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, and then we have all this debt, and then you're faced with the issue. Should I work at a practice, or should I start my own practice?
Excellent question.
What is your recommendation?
Scary thoughts, especially with
sure.
that debt that's looming over you. I chose the route not to open my own. I worked for another doctor. Actually, I was in Long Beach Island and Ship Bottom for a year and a half with someone I'm still very close and friendly with. Another doctor in Bricktown. And after that, I realized I did want to be my own boss. So I opened my own office. Great idea, though, to start, I think, the way I did, because you got some experience, you got some capital under your belt, and you really got to know a little bit about the business end of dentistry that they don't teach you a lot of in dental school.
How much do you think would be to start your own practice then? How much money do you need?
It can be another $350,000 to $500,000, depending upon, you know, what you want to do, how well you want to equip your office, how big of an office you want. It's
expensive.
It's expensive, and certainly can be cost prohibitive. There are some people that would never want to own their own office.
See. So if you're fortunate enough, and many people are, where their parents will help them.
And
obviously, you know, your father was in the practice, he was in the dental industry, so I'm sure he didn't just say to you, look, Chet, you got to get the money on your own. I'm sure he helped you. So that was taking some burden off of you.
Sure.
And then when you go to work for another dentist, are you on a salary? Or are you developing your own clients while at that dentist? How does it work?
You may attract your own, you probably do attract some of your own patients. Family, friends would come.
Sure.
You're usually not on a salary.
Oh.
You're usually on a percentage of produced work that's collected.
Oh, wow.
Which
really works.
I never would have thought
Which really works better for the owner, because you're
Okay.
going to be producing before you're getting paid.
I see.
It actually works better for you, the dentist, because if you work more, you're going to make more. The salary is a little
I see.
not in the best interest, especially of the owner.
Of the owner.
Of the owner.
Not of the owner, because he's the one that has to pay for your time.
Regardless of how much work I do,
Okay.
how much charges get incurred, but mostly how much gets collected of that money.
I see. So would some dental practices want you to, let's say, do procedures for them, or are they thinking you're going to get your own customers?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Initially, you're just working for them.
Okay, so
So
look.
you don't really come with a following other than maybe your family and some friends.
Family and
Natural
friends.
market.
So
So
look,
it's really their host of patients.
we're going to come back to more of that discussion, but we have to take a break because we have some bills to pay. So we're going to just step away from It's Your Money, and we're here with Chet Chianese, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.